So today we're going to be revisiting a bullet that I've tested in the past. This is the 110 grain Hammer Hunter. I've tested both this and the 124, and at closer ranges they perform very well. But in the videos that I've done in the past, the 124 and the 110, neither one of them expanded at 400 yards in the thick plastic water barrel. So we're going to be revisiting it today. Hammer Bullets commented on one of my videos and wondered if it was the thick plastic jug clogging the hollow point and causing the lack of expansion. So we're going to be trying something a little different. And in the video where I ran the 124 grain through the thick plastic barrel, the bullet that I showed, I don't believe was a hammer bullet. It looked like a cavity back, possibly, that bounced and went into the barrel. I had been testing multiple bullets that day, and so there's a lot of question in the air how these bullets perform at longer distances out of this cartridge, and I think a lot of those questions are quite valid. So we're going to be starting over from scratch. We've got this 110 grain hammer bullet. I'm using accurate 25-20 powder, Hornady brass, and a CCI 450 small rifle magnum primer. We're going to get a 100-yard group. We're going to test expansion at 100 yards, and then we're going to kick it back to 400 yards. We're going to try something a little different and see if we have the same or different results. So stay tuned and we'll get to the video. Okay, so we're going to go back to 100 yards and see how these hammers group. I had to rob a sticker. I forgot to bring my sticker, so I robbed one off of an old Target. That's why it's got the notch out of it. But we'll see how these 110 grain Hammer Hunters group. I pulled the sticker off, but I mean, you couldn't really ask for better accuracy than that. That's excellent. Let's move on to bullet expansion. Well, I'm having a hard time believing what I just saw, but that bullet expanded. I've got the pedals, and that base continued driving through, and it exited jug number 6. Now, I don't think it had much energy left, but I didn't catch it. Thankfully, I brought extra jugs. That's why I always come prepared. I'm going to try it again. So there's what remains of the 110 grain Hammer Hunter. As you can see, I got one of the pedals here, but very straight line penetration. Again, I caught it in the 6th jug this time. Last time it barely poked through the back of number 6. I couldn't find the bullet, but at 100 yards, you couldn't ask for better performance. Now, just in case you guys didn't know, these hammers are designed for the nose to pedal back and break away. So this bullet has performed exactly as they advertise. Alright, so we got the barrel set up. Set some water jugs in front so that we have some thinner plastic to decide whether or not that thick plastic was clogging up the hollow point on these hammer bullets. We're going to go back to 400 yards and we'll see how they perform. So here are recovered hammer bullets. On the left is the bullet recovered from 100 yards, and the 2 on the right are from 400 yards. Now the first shot that I did, I barely hit the where the cap screws on that bottom def jug, and so it did not It did not make a lot of contact with water before it hit the barrel. But I want to show you, not sure if you can see it, there's a piece of plastic stuck in the end of that nose. So that goes to answer a question. Now this middle one hit the side of a 1 gallon jug. It didn't hit it perfectly, and we can see that there was expansion on that bullet. Not as well as the 100-yard bullet expanded, but there was some expansion. So that goes to show that with this bullet, out of this cartridge, muzzle velocities run about 2,620 feet a second, that 400 yards is really pushing it for this bullet. Will it expand? Yes, it will. But the target defines the test, and based on what we're seeing here, it can expand at 400 yards, but I think we're pushing it. At the same time, I don't want to say that the 6.5 Grendel is a 400-yard deer cartridge, because it's not. You're looking at ideally 250 to 300 yards max. So, how did the hammer bullet perform? In my opinion, it performed very well. I think this is one of the best bullets you could use for deer, especially large deer, mule deer and stuff, if you choose to hunt with the 6.5 Grendel. My recommendation would be to keep it in 300 yards and under, and I think you'll have a lot better bullet performance.